Hello, welcome back. It's been quite a while since I've made a video, so for a couple of reasons. There's been not a whole lot going on, to tell you the truth. There's been no changes or anything to the car either, really, so there's been nothing to really excuse me, document there. But there's been a couple of shows come and gone. There was supposed to be one a couple of weeks ago in Tipperary, like a track day kind of display sort of thing that had a show and shine section as well. That got postponed until, well, inevitably, I guess it said June, but who knows. The car had been accepted for that, so it's kind of a shame that it was postponed. I was pretty hyped on that. That would have been a lot of fun. I was supposed to get a, I suppose what you call feature, for want of a better word, by, there's a channel called Next Exit here, two lads, I can't think of their names off the top of my head, it's Chris and something else. They do all kinds of stuff, just car stuff, like going to track days, looking at what people have. They were going to do a feature on my car. They were going to do it at that show. So that'll be something for a couple of weeks time. You'll see that whenever you see that. That could be months, weeks, I don't know. Then there was supposed to be another show yesterday in County Limerick. It was called the Greenmount Motorsport Bonanza or something kind of funky like that. I was going to go for that. I had applied, I had sent in my pictures, all that kind of stuff. The guy said, yeah, no problem, you know, we'll see you on the day. But just, I'm on new medication the last month or so there for my psoriasis. You might have seen other videos. I've got really shitty fucking skin on the top of my head there. That's what that is. And it comes along with migraines and dizziness and all this kind of stuff. So that, I just woke up yesterday morning, I just wasn't in the mood, to be totally honest. So what we're going to do today instead is kind of give the car a bit of a health check, I suppose. Like, you know, lift it up, pull off the wheels, have a look around at everything. Just kind of give everything a double check. We'll have a look at the air system because there's a couple of, just a weird issue I'll show you in a minute, but quick version of the story is I had been driving this for the last maybe 2 weeks or so, because my Accord wagon, the thermostat housing on those K-series engines is plastic. The car's a 2003, it's 20 years old, the thermostat housing cracked, so I was waiting about a week for one of those as a dealer only part. But anyway, that's all back together. But while that car was down, I was driving this pretty much all the time, aside from the few days of school run. And there's still that clunking in the back every so often, like what you would have seen in another video where I tried to solve it. I'll put a link to that video down there if you want to have a look. But I want to try and see if I can do anything about that. I get the feeling I won't be able to do anything about it, but other than that, we'll just do a general sort of health check of the air system of the car itself. A couple of little things like that. We might give it a wash. I just noticed there's a robin in the shed. I think he's got a little, oh yeah, he's got a little nest in the corner. Cool. Yeah, cool. So that's that. Let's get started, put the car up in the air and see how everything looks. Okay, so we got the car up in the air. Well, now, what are we looking for down here, you might ask? I don't really know either, to tell you the truth. I'm just gonna nut and bolt check everything, I suppose. Just make sure, you know, controller and bolts still tight. Well, obviously, you know, I'll move these and check the subframe bolts before I let the car back down, like, but, you know, just make sure everything is still tight, and just my polybushes are still you know, still poly. They're not getting wrecked or anything. Just make sure that's tight. Double check all of this stuff. Like, well, take this down, double check that that's tight. Double check the top control arm bolts are tight, that one and that one up there. I'm not going to pull out the back seat to check the top mount bolts for the shock or anything like that. You know, check the bags, make sure there's nothing. Well, I know that for a fact there's nothing rubbing on the back ones. I get the feeling there might be something on the front, I don't know. Driving it quite low, every so often you can kind, yeah, see there where it's catching a little bit, but it's very, very, very little. I was debating potentially, let's say, like bringing it to an exhaust place and have them cut it, say, there and cut it up there and just do a straight right there, so like this section would kind of be up like a ½ inch or so, but it's probably no need because it's not like I drive it super low all the time anyway. The other option, as you can see, that middle section just there is hanging down quite low, so I don't know if there's a way I could, like, it's kind of hard to show you from here, but like I might be able to get it up closer to the body or something like that, or because you can kind of see the silencer in the middle there is getting scraped at the bottom as well. I might be able to tuck that up tighter to the body of the car or something, but I may not be able to do it without replacing hangers or something like that, and I don't really want to go that far. But other than that, the bottom of that is fine. I'm surprised that sticker is still on it. That's on it for years. But other than that, and just to double check where, like, everywhere that I've welded, like up here and stuff like that, and there's a little touch of kind of brown there, we'll have a look in a minute. And anywhere that I underseal, like up here above the exhaust and in behind the bumper and all that stuff. So while we're here, we'll have a little quick look up by the back of the bumper and in around the arch and stuff like that. Like, everything there is, you know, it looks fine. Like, there's nothing out of the ordinary. All my repairs there are all still okay. Not that I expected them not to be, but there's all the stuff up there. I can't see what you're looking at there now, so I'll look at that and review the footage in a minute and see what it looks like up there. Everywhere back here, like, it all still looks fine. Like, obviously, you know, I've driven it in the wet a handful of times out of necessity more than anything else. Like, if it's wet out at all, I try not to drive it. Not that I expect it to ever, you know, fall apart as soon as it gets wet just once, but like, the less you introduce water to it, the better, you know. Like, all up there still looks okay. Again, I can't really see properly from here. All my repairs along the sill, I'll have a proper look when I review all that footage, but just spanner check everything, like the other side of these bush, this little bush in here on the trailing arm and stuff like that. I did get these little lock guys from Only Charge Dubs. I'll put a link in the box there for you. Kind of unnecessary, but it's supposed to just stop any play in the fitting there, so God forbid if for whatever reason it pushed in enough to let the airline pop out, it prevents that. I also got, I'm not going to put them on today, but I got a little, just like a boot, like the equivalent of a ball joint boot for over the fitting as well, that I'll put on at some point, but I don't want to go pulling at lines and stuff like that today. We'll double check all of this stuff. Oh, I wonder is that, what's the condition of that hanger? Quite loose. I wonder if I put a big thick cable tie around that and kind of pinched it. Yeah, maybe it might get the exhaust a touch, but I don't know, it'll be enough to make any odds. But yeah, but we'll check all of that stuff here on this side, excuse me, and we'll do the same on the other side, and we'll come back if there's anything interesting to report, I suppose. Okay, let's take a look up under here as well. Again, all looks alright. You know, a little bit brown in a couple of spots, but nothing unexpected. Everything there was tight pretty much. Again, I can't really see what I'm looking at there now, but you can tell me, how's that look there? Let's say it's okay. If not, we'll work something out. Yeah. Everything at the back seems fine. There's always a little bit of a fuely smell back here, but I guess that's where the carburetor carries. There's obviously nothing leaking. Like I said earlier, I'll check them subframe bolts when I have the car down. If I remember right, this bolt is kind of, it's not fucked, but you can see that the hex on it is ever so slightly worn. So if I remember when I was doing the work last year, I had to bait a 16mm onto that, but I'm sure I have something that'll do in my stack of just random bolts there, so I'll replace that some other time. I'm not going at that today. Other than that, yeah, everything is fine. Grab the light again. Bag is okay. There's no evidence of anything rubbing on it. There's that kind of ring there on it, but that's just from when it compresses. You know, it all looks tidy around here where the crimp is. Same up at the top there. So I'm quite happy that everything in the back is tight. Anyway, same as before when I had done the polybushings and those top mounts. Like, the only thing I can think of is just the shocks. The air shocks are just a little bit clunky and noisy, which isn't a big deal. It's just shit like that. It's always in the back of my head that someday, what if it just fucking explodes, you know? But realistically, that would never happen. One thing I do want to double check is, which side is it on? On this side here, on that one. You can see that little adjuster there. That is the adjustable dampening on these. Now on this one, I believe I have it set at 4. On the other side, a couple of days ago, I double checked them all because I like to keep them all relatively even. I think the other side was on 3, if I remember right. So what I might do is set them all to just their absolute hardest, wind them all the way up to 9, bring the car for a spin later on, not today, like, and just see if there's any less noise. The only issue with that is then if I do that, granted, yeah, there might be less noise, but it's also way slower when the car lifts up and drops, which is, you know, I want the look, like the style, lowrider style of it, lifting quick and dropping quick, which it, by all means, like, it definitely has at the moment. So I don't know, I'll play around with that. That's the thing about that kind of stuff. It's fine-tuning, I guess, the difference between bouncy ride, it being too soft, and the speed of how much it lifts up and down. Do you know what I mean? But look, that's an issue for another day. Right, so I think we can throw the, oh, actually no, yeah, we can throw the wheels back on here, and then we'll open up the boot. We'll bleed the we'll empty the tank. I'll show you the odd thing that happened when I was driving it to work on Saturday. I have that repaired, but I'll show you what happened anyway, just something to keep in mind for yourselves if you've got Airline. And we'll carry on from there. Okay, so let's show you what happened in the boot. It's super sunny there now, so you may not be able to, it might be kind of glary, but we'll figure it out. So I brought the car to work on Saturday, and I have like a private car park, not to sound like a wanker, but like I have a little private car parking spot. And hang on, let's talk to you. So yeah, a little private car parking spot, and on Saturday morning drove it in as fine, parked it, left it, you know, went to work for the day, didn't think anything of it. And when I came back then in the evening, turned on the car, went to drive home, and the compressor kicked in. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I looked at the controller and it's completely loaded, like 0 PSI. And I thought maybe it's just, you know, a fault in it or something like that. Turned off the car, turned it back on, same thing, and let it build and build to see, I don't know, maybe, I didn't know what I was looking for, to be honest with you. So and then started to hear a little hissing and hissing and hissing and hissing. So turned off the car, and I could hear the hissing obviously still coming because it had built up a bit of pressure. So jumped out and found this. I don't know if you can see that, a nice big split in the line, and that is the line that goes from, there's the little drain port at the bottom of the tank right here. Let's check it out. And that line was this line here. It had split and it exploded. So obviously it happened at some point throughout the day. I don't know when, because obviously I would have been at work, like, so I can only imagine the noise of that bursting with 180 psi in it. So if there was anyone in the car park that happened to be walking by, they would have thought, oh, can you hear the robin? I think the nest is up there. I don't want to go over and disturb it or anything in case there's little baby birdines in it. But anyway, yeah, I can only imagine the bang that would have made. So I replaced that bit of line yesterday, and it's fine since. It's just a 1/4 inch line. I had a bit spare left from the water trap kit that they give you when you buy the kit new. But anyway, it seems fine since it's holding plenty of pressure. And I can't think of what would have made it burst, because obviously, you know, it's that big because of the pressure that was in it. So the only thing I can think of is when you're draining the tank, obviously you're draining compressed air, so it's cold. So maybe it's a case that just, I don't know, over time when you drain the tank or something like that, or any bit of pressure that's in it, like starts to crack. And you know, like obviously when something gets cold, it's that bit more brittle. So maybe over time that line just burst. So, but it's replaced now anyway. It's not a big deal. But what it did teach me, which is a good thing, is I knew this already, but obviously the 4 corners of the system are all like their own closed circuit. So I could have driven home no problem. Well, I did drive home. I didn't replace that till yesterday. And as long as you don't drop the car or anything, you won't need pressure to lift it back up. Therefore, it doesn't matter if that line is leaking or if your tank's leaking or if your compressor's dead or something like that, because obviously each corner is separate, so a closed circuit, so that was fine. Anyway, I'm rambling. So that's that fixed. It's a weird one. If any of you that have Airline have had that happen before and you know why or what caused it, let me know. I'd be interested to find out, because that's the only theory that I can think of. But other than that, it's all put back together. Now, on the other hand, I don't know, do you even really need that kind of the pressure valve and the drain and all that kind of stuff? Realistically, you probably don't. But I think what we'll do anyway now, while I get ready to lift up the front, is we'll drain that. I'll pull out the little, whatever you call it, the Schrader valve is called, like a tire valve or whatever. We'll drain that. We'll let it fill up again, like fresh air, for want of a better word. I might pull the floor out of it here and check the water trap, or the little bagging for the water trap, see if there's anything in it, and just keep going. Okay, all of that is taken care of. Everything's boot is back together. So let's have a quick look under the bonnet. I don't expect any surprises or anything here, because this thing runs like a little sewing machine. But we'll have a look at it. All the usual stuff you would check, I guess. We'll check the oil. Now the oil that's in it is only in it, which is not long, a couple of months. I don't know, 2 months maybe, something like that, if even. So let's give it a wipe first. Let's have a look. Now I know it's cold, but I'm not going to start. Well, we can check it again later, I guess, when I start it up and move it to give it a wash. Like, but for now, I'm not too concerned. Yeah, perfect. I'm sure you can see that as well. Nice golden brown. I don't know if it's in focus or not there now, but we're not too worried. You can take my word for it. Perfectly fine. Let's take that back in. Yeah, perfectly fine, right up at the max. I'll check the bolts for that in a second. The bolts for the shock mount. Let's have a quick look here. Yeah, loads, more than enough. I can see the level of the clutch one from here. Yeah, I think we're good. It's kind of about all you can really check from here, I suppose, isn't it? I know that it doesn't need water in it or anything like that, because, like I said, yeah, perfect right up to the top. I know that that's okay. Let's see the overflow. We might put a drop in the overflow, but there's probably no need, I'd say. Let's grab a spanner and just do a quick little squeeze on all these guys at the top here, which I'm sure are fine, but one of the ones that we can get at easily first. Gives them a little, oh yeah, that's not going anywhere. Not even an eighth of a turn there on that. Nothing on that one. Yeah, that's fine as well. Can't really get at this one. Yeah, that's fine as well. Okay, and I know that they're tight because I only checked them like a week ago. everything else I think is okay. Yeah, I guess that's about all you check. I'll have a few other things to do under the bonnet in the coming months. Probably over winter time. I'll probably replace the distributor. I have a new brake master cylinder to go in it. I have a new clutch slave cylinder to go in it. A few other small kind of things like that. But as for right now, it doesn't need any of that stuff, you know, so I'm not too worried. Okay, we can close that up. Yeah, we can close that up. So, right, let's put. There we go. Let's put the car up in the air and have a look underneath. Right, wheels off the front. So let's have a look under here. I did notice when I was pulling the wheel off, actually, one of my SSR valve caps is missing, unfortunately. So I don't know where that went. I don't know, did it fall off one day or something, or did someone nick it or something like that? I doubt it, because why would you steal just one, you know? This just seems kind of weird. So, but I have some spares. I'd love to know where that went, unless I took it off someday doing tire pressures and like put it in the pocket of one of my jackets or something. But I don't know. Either way, I have another one anyway to put on it. Yeah, let's take a look under here. Actually, you know, I'm gonna come back because I just realized I forgot to put the jack or the car on the stands. Hang on. Okay, we're back. And safe. Cool. Okay, so first thing I noticed just there is maybe that boot, I can't tell if it's just the way it's sitting or is it actually split. Yeah, I can't really tell, but I might swap that out. I have new ones of those anyway. I think it's okay for now. I'm more concerned about all this stuff up here. A little bit brown there, nothing crazy. This surface shitty stuff. I did reroute those lines a couple of weeks ago and just put a proper clip in it. One of those ones there you see with the cable tie and the little kind of pop thing in it or whatever. That all looks fine. Those little lock guys up there as well. Now when the car's fully dropped, the line ever so slightly touches there. I wonder, can I see? No, not really. There'll be no identifying mark, I guess, anyway. But it just ever so slightly sits just there, and I noticed a couple of weeks ago that it had started to pinch the tape that was around it and that loom cover stuff. But it's not like it's, you know, at that position very often, so I'm not really worried about it. But anyway, other than that, everything looks okay. There is a bit of a mark that I spotted about a week ago when I was doing prep for that show that got cancelled. You can see just here. Now it's just dirt, kind of off the hub or spindle, whatever you want to call it. Americans call it a spindle. I would call it the hub or whatever. But anyway, so when you get these, you're supposed to grind what they call the flashing off the back of the cat. It's like the equivalent of, see the marks there from when they cast these. Now I have ground that very smooth, and it has never rubbed on it before, but since I put those new bags in, they're the ones that I replaced back at the start of the year, it does seem to be rubbing a little bit. So I don't know if it's a difference in the rubber or something like that. But again, it's only when the car is fully dropped, so that obviously compresses there and it's just sitting on that really. It's not like when I'm driving, there's about a finger's width in there, and I would never drive it that low. Do you know what I mean? To the point where that's rubbing on that. But I guess, again, just with periodic inspection, I'll keep an eye on it. But a couple of weeks ago, I did grind a little bit more of that. But I think what I'll do someday, if I'm taking the shock out for some reason, there's kind of a little bit of a, most of it is gone. There was a few little kind of, not rough marks, but a couple of little bits there. But what I could do if I really wanted to is come along, and I wouldn't like notch it as in cut an L-shaped piece out of it, but just get my flat wheel and, you know, kind of give that a bit of a smoother kind of curve there or something, and clean it up a little touch more at the back. And again, obviously just inspect them every so often. So I'm not really worried about that. It's just something like that will be in my head, especially after that time earlier in the year when the bag burst. Speaking of which, in here is where that bag burst. It's very hard to see. You're not really looking at anything, I know, but my solution from that, or for that, seems to be still holding up fine. Those bolts haven't moved on either side. There's no evidence of them moving, so obviously they're still okay. Ball joint rubbers and stuff on that look fine. Down around here, everything looks okay. Unfortunately, my brand new axles don't look like brand new axles anymore. Everything else seems fine underneath. There's nothing to really, like, I haven't really dicked around with that down here in recent years, or months I mean, but I gave everything a squeeze like I did. The bolt there for the shock fork, same down here, this one, the control arm over there, Until I can get a spanner on, really. There is one other place that there's a bit of, when I say a bit, and quite a bit, you can see on the bottom of that brace there, that's the lowest point of the car. When it is dry, well, it's the lowest point of the car anyway. So when I'm dropping the car, that sits on the ground, and if I'm driving it low, that hits a speed bump or whatever. I've debated getting like 3mm steel and making my own one of those, if that makes sense. Like, that's a bit, like, I'm trying to kind of keep it even there with the bottom of the gearbox. So I could take, for argument's sake, that, whatever that is, maybe 5 or 8mm lip off it, but then this is the next closest thing to the ground, which is the bell housing part of the gearbox, and I don't want to go having that smashing off the ground, do you know what I mean? So I'm not too bothered by that. Gearbox is quite leaky. Now that I look at it, it's quite oily, isn't it? We might investigate that over the winter time or something. The little cover at the bottom there is taking a bit of a beating just because it kind of flaps a little bit when you're moving, but overall it's okay. Just got a lot of marks on it, but again, it's just a piece of plastic. You don't have to have it, but I'd rather have that take the beating than the subframe that I had to repair and stuff. My rust repair and stuff from last year up here, I know again you can't really see much of it, but yeah, it's all still looks decent anyway. There's another repair up, a couple of repairs up there you're not really going to be able to see, but yeah. So I think we'll spanner check everything this side. I'll run around and I'll spanner check everything the other side, and I think that's kind of it then. There's nothing else I can think of off the top of my head, so yeah, let's keep going with those. Okay, we're all done. I'll check finished up. Air system's fine. I didn't really expect there to be any surprises, to tell you the truth, but you never know. It's always nice to give it a check and a once over now and then. Same underneath, just nothing bolt check, everything seems fine. On this corner and the other corner, the bolts for the shock fork, excuse me, a 14mm and a 17mm, both took a bit of a turn, not a full turn, but you know, probably 3/4 of a turn, if not more, by hand. So I don't know if maybe I left them ever so slightly loose one time or something, but either way, they're fine now. I found, as you just saw, my other SSR valve cap is there, and while I was looking for it, I found these guys. They're like, I'm not going to take them out of the packet now because I may not use them. They're like, I don't know what you'd call them, like mirror visors. They kind of, they sit in here now, that way technically. They sit in like that on the mirror and have like a little visor over the mirror. I had a set on, I've had sets on most of my cars. I have a set on my daily car, I had a set on my old Lexus, I had a set on the car I had before that. So what do you think? Should I put them on that? Would it be a bit weird, or would it look nice with, say, the sunroof visor, the window visors, and then a visor there? Let me know what you think. I'm undecided. I might put them on, I might not. I mean, they're from Wish. They're like, I think they were €3 plus shipping, so even if they look crap and I have to throw them in the bin, it's not a big deal. Wouldn't be so worried. But yeah, let me know what you think. So we're going to pull it out now, give it a little wash, and a wipe down, take a few nice pictures. I think he likes my wheels. Okay, all done. I had the Robin there come and check on the work, and he seemed happy enough as well, so he signed off on it. So if the little Robin is happy, I'm happy. He's just tweeting at me. Yeah, aside from the few things that needed, the couple of bolts there that needed a squeeze and stuff like that, everything is fine. No lines rubbing on anything that shouldn't be, no marks on the bags or anything like that, anything that's of concern. I have notes taken about it, and I look after that stuff across the winter time when the car is put away. But for now, absolutely fine. Running like a little sewing machine, like I said earlier. We just brought it to the shop, got a nice little drink, and I think that's about it. So thanks for watching this one. There's a few events coming up in the next month or two. A couple of events in July, hopefully, that I've applied for. Hopefully I'll get accepted for those. There's another one in June, I think, and then there's something else in August. So I have applications sent in for a lot of those, but we'll see. Anything else that pops up, any small cars and coffees and stuff, you'll see a little video about those. But for now, as always, thanks for watching. Sign up to my Bebo and send me your questions and comments on a stone tablet.